And now I will invite Tony to the scene.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Katarina. It's always such a pleasure to listen to you, and good luck with your other events during the day. Ladies and gentlemen, very nice to have you here, and a very relevant and very timely topic for us to discuss. And I'm so glad that there are so many representatives, both here but also online, that will participate in this event. My name is Tony Clark, and I'm the Managing Director of the Swedish Waste Management Association, and I will be moderating this session. I think this is one of the few events during these days that is targeting local government and municipalities' challenges and actions. And we are very glad that we can organize this event together with UNDP, ISVA, the International Solid Waste Association, and other partners. We are also happy and glad for the very qualified group of speakers and panelists that will address us. And this event will be streamed live and be recorded as well. Shortly about the Swedish Waste Management Association. We are an expert organization in public waste management and recycling sector. We are a front runner in the waste management field, representing all 290 Swedish municipalities and approximately 150 private enterprises. We represent competence in all aspects of waste management, circular economy. And actually this year, as we are here celebrating 50 years since 1972 event, the conference, Stockholm Conference 1972, we ourselves celebrate 75 years as an organization. Relating to our achievements, I would like to highlight that we in Sweden currently put less than 1% of our waste on landfill, and we are actively climbing higher and higher up along the waste hierarchy. And our long-term goal has been there is no waste or zero waste, and we will hear more about that during this day and this event. Some things about the municipal waste management. It's becoming an increasingly major problem all over the world, which causes huge stress on local governments, on its economy, environment, and its citizens. We already see huge dump sites and open burning of waste in large parts of the world, which causes huge impact on climate change, pollution of scarce water resources, air pollutions, and so on. Our oceans are being filled with waste very much due to a poor or non-existent waste management at land. And we will shortly hear about these facts from also different speakers. If we look at the SDGs, waste management relates actually to quite a few of these SDGs. Central is, of course, goal 12 on sustainable consumption and production, where we both need to do more to prevent the waste generation, but also demand more reusable and recyclable products on the market. But it also relates very much to goal 1, 2, 5, 8, no poverty, zero hunger, gender equality, and decent work and economic growth, by including the social aspects of waste management in the world. We know that dump sites around the world affect the livelihood of more than 60 million people. It relates to goal number 3, good health and well-being, by contributing to the less spreading of hazardous substances. Goal 4, quality education, by increased knowledge, better conditions are put in place to promote a sound chemical and waste management. Clean water and sanitation, goal 6. Waste management often includes taking care of the rest products from water treatment facilities. Goal 7, affordable and clean energy, by taking care of the energy content from the waste. Goal 9, industry, innovation, infrastructure, by developing better processes for better waste management. Goal 11, sustainable cities and communities, where waste management plays a central part in the city or community infrastructure. Goal 13, climate action, where the leakage of methane from landfill contribute tremendously to the global climate emissions. Goal 14, life below water, since littering and bad waste management at land results in huge amount of waste ending up in our oceans. Goal 15, life and land by returning nutrients from the waste management to agriculture. We have goal 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions, where robust and well-developed public waste management system diminish the risk for corruption, bribery, and illegal waste activities. And last but not least, goal 17, partnership for the goal, where capacity building and exchange of knowledge and experience between cities and countries is an important step in achieving a sustainable waste management. I would like to say a few words about why we are here on the stage today. We started our cooperation with UNDP in the year of 2000. Together, with several of our municipal members, we got the project to look at zero waste concept. We did a pilot in 3 cities, in 3 different parts of the world, with 3 different levels of development when it comes to the waste management. It was San Jose in Costa Rica, Kigali, Rwanda, and Tianjin in China. And the report that we developed was submitted to UNDP last summer, and it can be found online. You see it here on the left side. In December last year, we signed an MOU about deepening our cooperation further, and we are now in the process of setting up a technical platform or a clearinghouse where cities from around the world can exchange experiences and get support in their waste management efforts. We're also jointly, with the support from the Swedish government, developing an e-learning component for decision makers at local and national level. Why are then municipalities key in this work? Well, let's just take a few of these facts. Municipalities represent giving a service of general interest, but also it's a service that is next to every citizen. Every citizen basically comes in contact with waste management every day. Here needs to be political responsibility to make sure that waste management really works. It's part of the spatial planning. Municipalities are also very good partners when it comes to public-private partnership. Municipalities also forms the basis, which is very important in waste management, for inter-municipal cooperation. And there's also the possibility to do integration to other services such as water, sewage, and energy, as well as clean air. So if we say this was the start of departure for this meeting, I would just like to introduce what the agenda looks like. We will now, after my words here, listen to a presentation about the global situation on waste management. It's Mr. Carlos Silva. He's the president of the International Solid Waste Association. He will be followed by Ms. Xiaofang Zhou, Principal Technical Advisor at UNDP, and she will talk about the UNDP Zero Waste Offer. And after that, Dr. Mary Matthews from the Ocean Innovation Challenge will address us on the screen about reduced plastic waste and marine litter. That first session will be then followed by a panel discussion, and we'll then be very happy to invite on the stage Dr. Abdullah Nasir, Minister from the Maldives, Ms. Yvonne Denise Aki Sawyer, Mayor of Freetown in Sierra Leone. She will participate online. Ms. Ana Lucia Ferreira, Vice Mayor of Kiribati, and she will give us a presentation online as well. And we have Mr. Sarto Nogueira, Mayor of Fortaleza in Brazil. And we also have final remarks later from Ms. Maria von Berlecom, Head of Unit at SIDA. So with that introduction, welcome everyone, and I give the floor to Mr. Carlos Silva from ISFA. Please, Carlos.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. It's my great pleasure to be here today and at this first day of Stockholm Plus 50. And it's a great honor to be here in Stockholm 50 years after the first global conference first global meeting on environment and bringing the waste topic into the official agenda. So for us, from the waste sector, it's a great progress, a great advancement to be here, and a great honor. So I am the president of ISVA, the International Solid Waste Association. ISVA is the only international association working uniquely towards sustainable and professional waste management worldwide. And we have the chance to really bring to the attention of the world, of stakeholders and authorities. We host in the different events the importance to deal with waste and implement adequate waste management for all. Because, as you see, we are almost reaching the point of no return in terms of global warming, pollution, and degradation. If we don't act now, we will make it very difficult or it very costly to really have something ready as a sustainable planet for us in the future. And we must pay attention that inadequate waste management poses most threats to the most vulnerable ones. We must act in order to really provide adequate waste management to also overcome social inequalities, because when you have open dumping, for example, when you have open burning of waste, it usually happens in the most vulnerable parts of our cities. So it affects the most vulnerable ones, those who need more help, those who need more assistance. So we are now in a moment that we need also to be aware that we are not talking about waste, we are not talking about materials, we are talking about people. The inadequate waste management system poses a huge damage to our lives and to the environment. Just as one data that we can pick, we have 9 out of 10 people breathing polluted air every day. And most of these polluted air comes from burning of waste. And it causes 7 million premature deaths per year. So we are within a decade when we can make things right. We have the only chance to change this course we are seeing now. But we need to do more and we need to act fast. This is the reason why recently ISVA published this publication, this report, The Future of the Waste Management Sector, dealing with the trends, dealing with the perspectives and challenges for the waste sector within this decade. So, we have in this publication the contribution that the waste sector can bring towards a more sustainable future, and also the challenges that we must overcome, the challenges that we must deal with in order to really ensure that we are on the right path, to really ensure that we are moving towards the right direction. Then we selected among most of our members, and ISVA is present in 103 countries with more than 5,000 members, on their perspective, on their expertise, what would be the focal points for this decade. Then we collected these inputs, and this will be our roadmap. This will be ISVA's roadmap to act towards achieving the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So, to protect health and environment, to mitigate climate change, to drive resource efficiency and the circular economy, promote good governance and inclusion, deal with the occupational safety and health of the waste workers, and provide advances in technology. Some key messages from this report. For each topic, we provided some key messages. We provided some indications of the right path, and we also included a specific topic about cities and climate change, because municipalities is where we have local waste management happening into practice. And for that to happen, we need the waste sector as a central piece, as a central part of the overall circular economy system. And asking again our experts what would be the main topics for the waste sector within the decade, we've been able to create this cloud of words, and climate change emerged as the most important one. So, summarizing, what we need to do now is to provide access to adequate waste management for all, and to include and to integrate new technologies and advanced solutions towards a better waste management system, towards recovering materials, recovering all the potential we have within our waste. Because we truly believe that sound waste management is a global human right. A right for a clean and healthy environment is a global human right. But for that, we need to act together. We need to integrate our actions. The era of local containment is over. We need to bring ideas, projects, contributions together. In that sense, ISVA has established several partnerships, and we are working with several institutions to ensure that we can really fulfill our mission. We have, for example, a strong partnership with UNDP, with whom we are working to produce the Global Waste Management Outlook 2. This publication will be a landmark publication to be soon released with the most recent data and the most recent, let's say, reflections on better waste management worldwide. We have a partnership with UN Habitat, with whom we participate in the Waste-Wise Cities Partnership. ISVA is one of the founders of this partnership. Tony has just mentioned the partnership with UNDP. We'll listen to Xiaofan in a minute. And we also a big partner of the Climate and Clean Air Coalition in order to mitigate climate change. And being a partner of the coalition, we can support countries, we can support municipalities to really deal with and implement better waste management to mitigate the short-lived climate pollutants. So we must act now, and we must act together. The clock's ticking, and let's make it a concrete plan after this conference in order to achieve the future we want. Thank you very much.
I'm very sorry I had to mess up the program already, but the case is that Ms. Yvonne Denise Akisoyer, the mayor of Freetown, has to leave for another assignment, so she will give her intervention right now online, and after that we'll listen to Xiaofang. Please. Are you there, Mayor Yvonne?
Yes, I am.
Good, thank you. Welcome. Welcome to Stockholm.
Thank you very much. A real pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. And thank you also for organizing this forum and putting the spotlight on waste management. I'd like to start off by saying that the concept of zero waste sometimes feels like an impossibility for countries that are in the developing world, where the infrastructural challenges remain significant. But we're conscious that without actually tackling this head on, as the previous speakers said, waste is not just about plastic. It's not about materials. It's actually about people. the most vulnerable people. And in our quest to ensure that we are addressing waste, we have set ourselves a target which sees our city move from the starting point where we were when I became the mayor in 2018 of having only 6% of liquid waste and 21% of solid waste being collected and disposed of. And I've used the word disposed of, and I've not said safely, and I've not said managed, because that wasn't happening. We set ourselves a target as part of our overall framework for the city to change that and to ensure that at least 60% of solid waste and liquid waste were safely managed, collected, managed, and disposed of. In order for us to do that, we have ensured that we are looking at the whole value chain of waste management. So that means starting with behavior change, because as many of you will appreciate, whatever ends up on the streets, in the waterways, in gutters, wherever waste is unsafely disposed of, the starting point is an action by someone. And that action can be a deliberate action, or it may feel like an action that the person has no choice in respect of. So our starting point is to engage on behavior, taking a carrot and stick approach. A carrot approach wherein we instituted something called the Cleanest Zone competition. We brought waste management to the residents of the city by ensuring that within our 322 zones, it's now going to be 480 zones in the next iteration, that we actually made it a competition. So residents were in groups which were small enough to identify themselves, were encouraged to come into the competition by simply being sustainable in their waste management, providing green innovation, so planting trees, flowers, and just ensuring that their public spaces were clean. This actually had a significant positive impact because the prize for winning was investment in your community. So it was scholarships for children, it was your choice of a water well, a length of road, and investment. So there was a direct correlation between what you did in terms of waste management and improvement in your community. We hit a snag after the first year because we had some funding challenges which were politically driven, but we're back on track to reinstitute this year, and we're sure it's going to bring us to where we got to. The stick was an increase in enforcement, but because we have very few police officers in our force, only 150 in a city of 1.2 million people, that in itself was, is not the biggest driver. The biggest driver is really getting people to change their behavior and to understand the link between healthy waste management, effective waste management, and their own health. And that brings me to the next point of the infrastructural challenge. In the absence of development control, land use planning, and effective building management regime, which is unfortunately what we experience in our city, because those powers are not devolved to the local authority, they're held at national level, and therefore they are not executed. In the absence of that, you face an infrastructure challenge where communities develop in areas where there's no access for vehicles, not even access for the tricycles, which is our main point of waste collection. So you build in, you embed in through a lack of planning, urban planning, you can embed in bad waste management processes. So we're working to advocate for that law to be changed. Well, actually the law is in our favor, but for the law to be implemented. What do we do along the value chain in terms of collection? But when we came into office, only less than 8,000 households were registered with any sort of waste collection agency. This is now up to almost 50,000 by us investing into the sector. And we've done it through creating jobs at the micro level. We've provided 120 tricycles, which means that over 1,200 young people are now actively involved in waste collection at the household level. But as a city, we also engage a number of them and pay them for public street sweeping as well. On a more long-term basis, we're engaged in, with the World Bank and the Ministry of Finance, the construction of, for the first time ever, a landfill, sanitary landfill, so that we can eventually close down our current dump sites, 2 open dump sites, which are methane emitters. They're pollutants. They're really a bane, but they've been there for 30 years. And the cost of transforming these or closing them down and opening a sanitary landfill is well in excess of $25 to $30 million. So these are not things that we can do overnight. But in order for us to facilitate and continue to reduce the use of illegal dumping and even getting the materials to those dump sites, we are working on recycling. We've now introduced transfer stations. They were built a year ago. Again, because of various challenges on the political front, they are yet to open, but they will be opening within the next few months. That means that it makes collection more effective at the local level, because our city can be divided into blocks, which we've done, and the waste collection can be done by block. There's a transfer station in every block. From a recycling perspective, we are working with Freetown Transformers, a private sector company, which we've piloted with to ensure that we have organic waste being converted into energy. There's 1 site operational, a biodigester. We expect to have another 4 by the end of this year, and then 40 by the end of next year. That will take away 80% of our organic waste out of the dump site, out and go into recirculation. At the same vein, we are working, we have actually, for the first time, been able to build a wastewater treatment plant with funding from FCDO and collaboration with GOAL. That means we now are able to ensure that our liquid waste, not enough, it's almost 40% now, but we'll have to build another one. But for the first time in our history, from an environmental perspective, from a health perspective, and also from a circular environment perspective, we are now safely collecting liquid waste. And we are the end result of that is gray water, but also fertilizer. So there's tangible, physical actions that are being taken right across the waste value chain. I haven't been able to talk about everything because of time, but just wanting to say that partnering with and really engaging very closely. We didn't have in the city a waste management association. We have been able to support the creation of one for the tricycle riders, so that they can now act more independently. Their businesses are growing, and we are providing the enabling environment by ensuring the enforcement is there, and that we are seeking, through community engagement, through working with traditional enforcement agencies such as local chiefs, that we're creating an enabling environment that drives people to want to ensure that their waste is collected. We've used a lot of technology. www.findmeinfreetown.com is an app that's available to all residents to quickly identify who collects garbage in their area and engage with them and contract with them. But we also are now working with Freetown Waste Transformers and our tricycle guys to be able to find where the waste is being collected. So in short, at the city level, these are the engagements to take us to not just the hope of zero waste, but a pathway towards it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Major Yvonne, and thanks for the inspiration. And we will follow closely how you're developing down there, and we will keep in touch. But thank you very much for taking your time and for everything you shared with us. And let's keep in touch. Bye. Excellent. Here you go.
Thanks, Tony. Distinguished panelists, participants in person today, and also those online, colleagues and friends in the world. On behalf of UNDP, welcome to this official event on the waste management in the Stockholm 50+ meeting. And we are very excited to share our views on this topic and hope to inspire more people to join the effort. As we heard from the, maybe I should go to my presentation. As we heard from the previous speaker, this waste issue is significant, and based on the evaluation did by ISVAR and UNDP a few years ago, more than 2 billion people without access to the waste collection, and more than 3 billion people without access to the sound waste management. And based on the World Bank, at least 1/3 of the municipal solid waste was mismanaged, and 2/3 of the waste were open dumped in low-income and medium-income countries. The waste sector also contributes to 5% of the global greenhouse emission, and may increase to 20% according to some of the study if no action are taken. It links to the livelihood of tens of millions of people that need urgent help. We constantly heard many cities are struggling with this issue in their daily operation. So when we think about the waste management, I think we need to clear what would be the goal. And in the long term, currently there wasn't a common understanding what's the goal of the waste management. Our purpose of this event is to introduce the zero waste vision and encourage all of the governments and the cities to embrace it. We summarize some key elements of this vision, including 100% waste collection and less than 1% of the waste to the uncontrolled landfill, mandatory sorting, circular principle, and best practice, coherent policies, and close public-private partnership. In this vision, we follow the waste hierarchy principle, prioritize the prevention of the waste generation. So the purpose is to decouple the waste generation from the economic growth. To support countries to achieve this vision, UNDP developed a zero waste offer as part of our new strategic plan as some moonshot task, we call it. We have 3 ideas in this approach. And the first one is to establish a clearinghouse with partners as a platform for technical support, knowledge sharing, training, learning, and communication. The second is to establish zero waste enabling facility to support the capacity building of the city and development of the policy, regulation, strategy, and enhancing the planning process and waste governance. The third idea is to build the partnership to mobilize resources from the financial institutions, foundations, private sectors, and for the sustainable infrastructure and circular business models, particularly for those MSEs. So UNDP included all of these services in our chemical and waste portfolio. Our experience and recommendations was described in our new publication, Transitioning to a Circular Economy Through Chemical and Waste Management, that was in UNDP website. I encourage you to look at. And nevertheless, we recognize that this zero waste initiative should be a city-by-city approach. And mayors of the city are in the best position to lead this action and deliver the desired result. And then you may ask, are there any good models of the zero waste city to learn from the experience? Yes, I think zero waste is not a really new idea. Actually, many cities have been working on this target in the past 2 decades, and the experiences are enormous. You may hear also from the C40 in 2018, 27 cities announced the declaration about the zero waste target. And you may also hear that 11 plus 5 cities in China experimented this target since 2019, and also additional 100 cities in China joined this effort since last year. And the EU is a region that achieved remarkable progress towards zero waste. And they have clear strategy, policy to support this approach. And some of the countries in the EU had already achieved zero waste 10 years ago or 15 years ago, and they are now working to increase the ratio of the recycling for circular economy. So we believe all cities can achieve this. And of course, this would be a decade-long journey as a target of the whole country. But however, for some cities already have good level of the waste management, it could be accelerated approach to get there in a couple of years. By end of the 2030, it's important to start an action right now. So our message in this landmark meeting of Stockholm 50+ is a global action towards zero waste. The waste is a resource. It should not be wasted. The waste management is a powerful tool to transitioning to the circular economy, to generate more jobs and foster the green economy at the same time, making significant contribution in fighting the climate change, addressing the poverty and equality. And the zero waste city is attractive to the investors and to the visitors, and the zero waste city is competitive in the future. We look forward to working with all of you to achieve this vision. Thank you very much.
Are you showing the film?
Your Excellencies, esteemed mayors, and ladies and gentlemen. Most cities are built along rivers and coasts, and municipal waste often ends up washing into the ocean. The upsurge in plastic for everything we use means mayors are struggling to address the exploding waste management issues with increased urgency. The UNDP Ocean Innovation Challenge, created with support from Sweden and Norway to catalyze applied innovations to threats impacting our oceans, including pollution. Our goal is to accelerate progress on SDG 14, Life Below Water, by piloting technological, policy, and regulatory innovations that are replicable and scalable. After a very competitive selection process, the OIC supports transformational innovations with contracts up to $250,000 and 24 months. In the OIC incubators, innovators receive mentoring, promotional guidance, and connecting to capital for long-term sustainability, replication, and upscaling. The first UNDP OIC cohort focuses on SDG 14.1, reducing marine pollution. This links to other SDG targets critical to mayors, such as reducing environmental impacts of cities, implementing circular economies, and managing chemicals and wastes. Today, we are proud to share some of our star innovators who offer solutions to mayors on waste management challenges, including creating green jobs, empowering women, and promoting sustainable lifestyles, all while reducing plastic waste.
Through UNDP OIC support and the citizens of Costa Rica, we're leading a legally binding response that will implement the extended producer responsibility to plastic, glass, and metal packaging. We're introducing methods of fishing gear tagging and recovery to reduce ghost fishing gear, supporting a ban on importation and production of personal care and cleaning products with other microplastic. And we're strengthening the regulation of cereal disposal.
We work closely with local governments and municipalities. They are a vital source of information on packaging and various waste management approaches. Also, they are critical collaborators for research, the development, and implementation of environmental policies.
For example, cigarette butts are one of the major pollutants found on shores and seas around the world. In Costa Rica, a law prohibiting smoking in recreational areas such as the beach is widely unknown or ignored.
With the Ministry of Health and the enthusiastic support of the municipality of Garavito, on World Ocean Day, Jaco, a 4-kilometer-long black sand beach, which is quite popular among surfers, will become the first cigarette-free and cigarette butt-free zone of the country. We hope that this and our other project will inspire our other coastal municipalities to join us more actively in this journey towards zero waste for healthier seas.
When it comes to waste management, the major challenge in the Maldives is its unique geographical features and how the population is distributed across the low-lying atolls and widely dispersed islands. The Maldives needs to institutionalize a holistic waste management strategy to address the challenging waste collection needs of various islands. It must expand the capacity, management infrastructure, technology, and financial resources to do this successfully. OIC's support is helping create a paradigm shift in plastic waste management in the Maldives. Adelphi, Zero Waste Maldives, and the Maldives Ministry of Environment are working together to develop an extended producer responsibility or EPR scheme for plastic and packaging waste. This will be presented to the President's Office for official approval and implementation. EPR scheme can make a very significant impact on building a circular economy in the Maldives. It has the potential to create green jobs and improve livelihoods, particularly for underfunded island municipalities. This can also empower women's development committees who work with the local waste collection systems across the Maldives. The scheme would also incentivize innovation at the producer level to increase the recyclability of the waste produced in the Maldives.
Our innovation is focused on expanding, updating, and maintaining a publicly available inventory of policy documents from around the world made by governments seeking to address the plastic pollution crisis. We have policy documents on every level, including at the municipal level, where there are some exemplary solid waste management approaches. One example is Freiburg, Germany, which has been pre-sorting household waste, including light packaging and organic waste, since 1997, and surpassed its overall recycling goal of 65% recycling rate by 2020 in 2017. Another example is Venice, Italy, where general waste is collected daily, they even ring your doorbell, and recyclable waste is collected several times a week. The extensive canal system is used in waste management, where boats with trash compactors collect waste door to door, and people can deliver their own waste as well. While some governments have had to pause the tackling of plastics crisis in the wake of COVID-19, the government of Tallinn in Estonia strategically implemented single-use face mask collection bins around the city, collecting and recycling over 250,000 face masks.
These are just a few examples of how governments and our UNDP Ocean Innovators are comprehensively approaching our plastic problem through municipal and solid waste management. For more information on the UNDP Ocean Innovators, visit us at oceaninnovationchallenge.org. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mary, I know you're with us online as well. Is that so?
Yes, it is. I'm right here.
Good, good. Thank you for the very nice film. So if there are any questions, you will hang in for a few minutes. Thanks. I would like to invite then Dr. Abdullah Nasir, Minister of State from the Maldives, on the stage. Are you here? There, great. Welcome. And then we have Mr. Sarto Nogueira, Mayor of Fortaleza. Are you here as well? Very welcome. And we also have online, we will listen to remarks also from Ms. Ana Lucia Ferreira, Vice Mayor of Curridabat in Costa Rica. So, please, join us here, please. Yes, please take a seat.
Thank you.
Right here.
Here?
Yeah, take a table. You can have your own table. Okay, should we start with you, Dr. Abdullah Nasir? Would you like to? We have actually asked you, if we show the next slide, we have prepared a few questions, which we have asked you to address. Mm-hmm. Can I get some help with? There. And the questions that we have forwarded to you, and you have listened to all the presentations today, it's sure is a pressing issue. But what are the present status and challenges with respect to local waste management that you face? What are the measures, targets, and plan of the solid waste management of your cities and in your countries? Would the effort in this aspect be significant in terms of its impact on climate change, health, creation of jobs, and more equitable society? And then also on key challenges to achieve zero waste vision in the long run. What kind of policies, incentives, instruments, support that are needed to make sure such a vision can be embraced by the stakeholders and citizens and to be implemented effectively? We already heard Ms. Yvonne from Freetown, and she talked about these issues. Dr. Nasir, please.
Oh, thank you very much. And good afternoon, everyone. I can share with you the experiences of a small island nation in the Indian Ocean. The Maldives, as many of you know, is a nation of small islands scattered over a very large area of about 200,000 square kilometers of wide open ocean. So waste management is a great challenge given that we have to live on small islands separated from each other by sea. So on individual islands in the Maldives, waste dumping has been almost a cultural thing. You just go and dump your waste in the open forested areas or even on the beach. Sometimes the beach is considered by historically as dump sites, but you would all know that the Maldives is currently a very touristic place, and so beaches has become, we need to clean them up. So with the import of new products and the issue of non-biodegradable waste is a great problem. And so we have started dumping all these non-biodegradable wastes everywhere, and it has become quite a challenge for us to deal with that. And also, I think the whole thing came into light when the tsunami struck in the Indian Ocean in 2004, with the debris that came up with that. The whole all islands were strewn with waste. So that's when we realized, the scale of that problem as well. And we have, in the past 2 decades since then, we have made great progress, I would think, in the way we deal with waste. And we have developed policies and legislation. And one of the key things now is that in a country where we have to deal with island wastes, so we are developing 3 regional facilities where we would have the capacity to deal with all the non-biodegradable waste that comes into. But you can again imagine the problems with collecting and transporting and dealing with this in a practical way. And at the same time, we are focusing on efforts through the reduction of plastics. We have developed a policy to phase out many types of single-use plastics by 2023. And in fact, this has been endorsed at very high level, by the president himself, announced. And since from June 1st, I'm happy to say, from June 1st, we have started implementing the first phase of this a single-use plastics phase-out plan, and selected types of single-use plastics will now be banned. That includes a lot of things. So, and also we have a dump site, which is actually a specific island very close to the, in the central region, close to the capital island, and where we have been burning waste and dumping and burning. In fact, the whole island was created out of nowhere using waste. It's a shallow lagoon that was dumped. And we have been dumping waste on this place for a very long time. And we are happy. I'm happy to announce that since in the last few months, we have been able to stop the burning of waste altogether on this island, and the rehabilitation works have already started here. And so these are the challenges that we have, living on 189 inhabited islands, and also having 150 luxury resort islands. So waste transfer and management is at, it comes at a logistical cost and the manpower to transfer waste to the 3 regional facilities in the Maldives. But we are working, and I'm hoping that in the next 2 years at least, we will be able to come to come to a solution on a lot of problems that we have with respect to waste management as a small country. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It sounds like you are doing a lot. You have a lot of thinking. You are starting the process. You're still early in the process, and the challenges are enormous for you. But we'll listen now to the mayor from Fortaleza, what you are doing, and we also invite the mayor, vice mayor's presentation from Kurdabat, and then we will have a round of questions. And maybe you and the audience can also think about if there is some questions you would like to raise with the panelists. So Mayor, if you give your presentation on the topic, and where are you in this work? What are you addressing?
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank you for coming and invite us to be here. It's very important to stay in a moment with qualified opinions, with the academia, with all mayors, all our colleagues. And I'm really impressed by the depth and the commitment of the discussions here. Well, Fortaleza is a city that has almost about 3 million people. We have 2.7 million people. We are the 5th largest city in Brazil. And as you may see, we have a lot of problems concerning waste handling. But now we're working from 8 years from now to now, we are working in increase the recycling waste rate. Unfortunately, we have till now just 9%, although Brazil is Although Brazil is just 4%, the recycling waste rate, we have now 9%. And our goal is go to 50% during these 3 years, or next 5 years. The generation of waste is one of the central concerns in cities all over the world, where inequalities, lack of adequate alternatives, and wrong behavior of the population result in irregular waste disposal point. Among the problems caused by these irregular points, there are the risks to public health, to soil contamination, air pollution, and urban disorder. The City Hall has established regulations that hold responsible for disposal of their waste with big generators, 100 liters of domestic daily, and 50 liters of construction waste of any amount of waste with risk of environmental or biological contamination. This regulation reduced public waste management costs, but also encourage reduction in waste generation.
So sounds like you're also in the process, but one question which I was giving you before is this: what support do you see that you will need? Do you manage to handle all of it by yourself? It sounds like you're doing a lot. You have your ambitions is even further than Brazil when it comes to recycling, but still 9% is a tough challenge.
Yeah.
So what do you think? And also you from Maldives, this kind of cooperation that ISFA we were talking about between cities and countries, is that important? Or what do you need? Is it technologies, or is it knowledge, or what would you need in your efforts, both of you?
I think for small countries such as the Maldives, where they are large oceanic states, and as I said, the logistical problems need to be dealt with. And what we are doing at the moment is equipping the the regional waste management facilities where they would have the capacity to deal with waste coming from all the islands, and that's where we are working with ADB and also the World Bank, procuring large amounts of machinery which will be provided to different islands where they will deal with different. You can imagine we have to provide these to 186 inhabited islands where we would also have to create a waste management center for each island, and that itself is a challenge, and provide them with materials such as compactors and crushers that they can deal with non-biodegradable waste. And we would also have to explain to them on how to deal with the kitchen and other green waste that comes in. So we have a plan. We have a plan where we need a lot of support in order to work towards that. We have a plan of how to achieve that, but it will take a lot of cooperation, and especially in an island context. Some of the solutions that you may have for larger countries may not be suitable for small island nations. So that's how we are working on it, and you can also imagine the challenges. It was only starting from June 1st, we have started segregating waste at household level. We have never segregated waste anywhere in the country. And you can imagine what the citizens will feel like and the challenges that we have in trying to make people understand why we need to separate. But it is a law from June 1st in the Maldives that you have to segregate waste to kitchen waste, and also plastics and other waste should be brought. And so while we are talking about all this here, you can imagine the challenges that the municipalities face in the country trying to deal with that.
But you're in the beginning of a very interesting project. We listened to Mayor Yvonne before and how she was working, and then created the pride in the people, change of the behavior, and you are in that process. Maybe in a year from now we will hear about the pride in the people as well and what you have achieved. But don't be surprised. Actually, this about waste collection on islands is a big issue in Sweden as well. We have many archipelagos and islands where we do work with waste collection. So there's also one area where we can learn from each other, of course, and share experiences. Mayor, what do you say? What do you need?
Okay. I'm very happy because my colleague just said that they need to learn how to segregate waste. And in Fortaleza, we have a program. It's about 4 years from now that we select zones and we establish what we call eco points. It's a container where in Fortaleza we have about 120 neighbors, and we have 90 eco points. So people go there and they segregate the waste. They are told to segregate, and even they can make some money with the waste that they carry and dispose there. If not money, they get a credit card, they receive a credit card, and they may have a reduction when they're going to pay their bills, electric bills. And this program is teaching them how to segregate, differentiate organic from inorganic wastes. And we're spreading this policy throughout the city. We have 100, but I think next 2 years we're gonna get more 200. And I think this is just small to show how can we modify it's pedagogic, it's bring this this agenda to the agenda of everyday's life of women that supports her family. In Brazil, is usually like that. And I think this is one of the policies that's is doing very, very good.
Thank you. I think actually, or we know in the waste management sector that the sorting and sorting of fractions, the engagement of this is the beginning, and it's very important because you sort it, it's easier to recycle the materials. And if you sort organics, you can attract also, or you can handle also the climate emissions. So this is absolutely central what both of you are doing. Should we just listen to the message from Mayor Ana Lucia Ferrero, Vice Mayor from Curridabat? But please, if you can put her message on the screen.
Hi, my name is Ana Lucia Ferrero, Vice Mayor from the Municipalidad de Curridabat. Thank you so much for considering us to participate in this important meeting. According to data from the Ministry of Health, 4,000 tons of waste are generated per day in Costa Rica. It is with this vision that a little over 3 years ago, 5 municipalities in Costa Rica began to work together. We made the decision to work not in isolation, but as a team, all betting on a change in the management model, which we call Comunitas. Comunitas is the initiative led by the local governments of Curridabat, Desamparados, La Unión, Montes de Oca, and San Jose. The project has the potential to favor more than 800,000 people who live in the territory of these 5 municipalities, as well as the floating population that visits them daily, being equivalent to the number of inhabitants. This project contributes to a reduction of GHG generated through solid waste management under the principles of circular economy in order to carry out a change towards resilient communities. With this project, we join efforts, believing that if we work as a team, we can achieve what other latitudes have done, that is, to avoid burying in a landfill or incinerating 85% of our waste resources. In urban cantons, approximately 1.1 kilograms of waste are generated per person per day. The current model for the management of solid waste in the country is summarized in sending 97.2% of the waste to be buried in a sanitary landfill. Approximately 40% of the waste of the greater metropolitan area is generated with the Comunitas territory. Our aim is to achieve the reduction of more than 100,000 tons of CO2 equivalent per year. The objective of this project is to improve the management of solid waste, focused mainly on organic waste, to protect the health of citizens and improve the quality of the environment. If the project is implemented, it will be the first time that work is done at the intermunicipal level for waste management in a joint manner. Through the implementation of this project, local governments seek to promote the participation of citizens and stakeholders and the protection of the environment in favor of a new management model for solid waste. To date, Comunitas has achieved many joint achievements, which would not have been possible if done independently. Among these achievements, we have the launch of the Composteros web portal, a web platform which aims to provide a space to learn composting techniques, to exchange knowledge, and to share compost. The regulation for the comprehensive joint waste management towards a circular economy. This regulation seeks to standardize the service and management provided in the included territories. The first joint plan at the country level, which has the circular economy as its transversal axis, in order to achieve an impact throughout the territory. An industrial plan for the composting of organic waste from farmers' fairs. The platform Circular .go.0 is in the process of development. It will serve to group the different solutions and resources that exist in terms of circular economy at the country level. The territorial strategy for the implementation of environmental seals under the theories of behavioral economy and zero waste. The 5 local governments are looking for an integral waste management model that, beyond the technology, contribute to the education and awareness of citizens so that they are more aware of what they consume and what they finally generate in waste. This is thought from a Commonwealth approach and not from isolated efforts as municipalities. In the last year, this project has managed to benefit around 2,000 homes, which translates in 0.6% of the total population of the 5 municipalities, being very far from achieving the goal of being a zero waste territory. Thus arises the need to request support for guidance in the creation of a waste management model, as well as the association structure based on a circular economy, understanding that the support provided to the project will be an impact investment with environmental, economic, and social benefits. Thank you very much.
It seems like quite a few who have been talking today about the local experiences says we are so far from zero waste. But it also seems like everyone understands that this is important to have this vision in order to work credibly with this. I would just like to ask you, Mary, you're still there, right? Yes.
Yes, I am.
Mary, do you have something you would like to reflect on about what you heard so far from the comments?
Absolutely. I think 2 things that I think are really important, which is that we need to have waste management addressed as an urgent issue at the local level, and that, as was said from Costa Rica, really informing the community about their consumption patterns is absolutely critical. And what we were hearing also from Maldives about the challenges of transporting waste in islands is really quite difficult, especially if you don't have it secured well. Some of our innovators have noted challenges if you have a large boat full of plastics and you're trying to move them on a windy day, you better have those tied down or you end up creating more pollution. And then, of course, we've also got challenges from municipal waste like single-use plastics, including nappies, diapers, that end up creating huge amounts of waste. It doesn't burn easily, which has its own issues. We really have some amazing challenges here. And the neat thing is working together, linking together, being able to link together around the world and learn from one another. We may not be able to take the template from one city and automatically apply it to another city, but we can take the lessons. And I think that is where the true power is.
Thank you very much, Mary. Good. We have a final intervention here, and please remain seated because now we're doing some challenging here. Maria von Berlecom, head of unit from SIDA, will address us, and she has been listening the whole time. She has some reflections, she has some thoughts about from a donor organization's perspective to what she has been listening to. So please, Maria, welcome on the stage here.
Thank you very much. These are my pages.
A lot of notes.
I just want to start with saying that I think it's been a very rich, very interesting session already. And trying to summarize that is not that easy because I think there are so many very valid points that have been made. But I'm going to give it a shot anyway. And what I heard a lot coming up is that waste is not about waste, it's about people. I think that has come through in most of the interventions in different ways. And I think it's in 3 different ways. I think what we heard first, and that came back also several, it's about people, particularly in lower income countries, particularly children and women being vulnerable and exposed to the hazards from a bad handling of the waste, basically. So the risk and the exposure. The second one I've heard a bit about is about the individual responsibility for reducing our consumption patterns, to reduce the exposure or the pressure in itself. And the third part I heard about people is about involving people in also being part of the solution. Sorting.
Good.
But again, I think also the reduced consumption parts. So I think there's sort of these, and all these talk about, particularly the two last, of course, about behavioral change, which is also something that came back by several interventions. Secondly, I heard a lot about that waste, it's not about people only, but it also, and I think it's a consequence of it being about people, it relates to all the SDGs. It's an integral part of the agenda. And I think what particularly came up is the important role of cities. It's a challenge in the cities, it's an opportunity in the cities. Thirdly, I heard a lot about the importance of the upstream, reduce, minimize the pressure, resource efficiency, circular economy. Again, the links to the individual, but also I think this is a much more systemic issue as well. So I think that's something that we would like to come back to. I think also, now that was interesting, particularly from the Maldives, that waste is not always and only a local issue. It can also be transboundary, the debris coming up from the oceans, but also the imports from other countries and the hazards that come with that import. So again, I think to have that sort of transboundary linkage. I also would like to end with what I didn't hear, which I also found a bit interesting. The first one, there's a lot about plastics. I didn't hear anything about e-waste. The electronic waste. It's the fastest growing waste sector, with I think only 17% or something that is being recycled or recollected. And we all know lots of hazardous material in the e-waste. So, I think that's something that we need to have on the horizon. Secondly, I didn't hear anything about the role of the producers in this. And I think that's also very important. Yep. Finally, coming from a development cooperation perspective, and also going back to the people angle, I didn't hear anything, or I might have missed it, about the role of local communities, groups in the informal sector in waste management. And they play a key role in many countries, maybe up to even 60% of the waste being recycled is by the local community in the informal sector. So again, it shows that this is also a resource, it's an opportunity. So I think that people resource is something that we should not leave. They are part of the solution, it's the way going forward. So thanks.
Thank you for an excellent summary. If we would have had more time, we would also have addressed e-use producers, e-waste producers and others, because we can have a whole conference about that. But thank you very much, Dr. Abdullah Nasir, for your intervention, Mayor Sarton Oguera, and not least Maria van Berlecom. Thank you very much. And sorry, there were no time for any questions, but please approach anyone here on the stage afterwards. We're all ready for you. Thank you.